is the, right now, this is just say, well, vacation paid. So this would be just your common employment income type stuff. So it automatically, you know, when we build these codes, it automatically knows to do that, all right? But it'll put that for any earning code. So if this was, say, a commission code, then you might want to uncheck that and check the T4 other box, all right? And then choose one of these sub boxes here. For example, employment commissions. So, yeah, that's where all the T4 mapping happens, right in here. So it's not a bad idea to take a look at it and go, okay, I wonder how this all looks. You know, you're coming into the job maybe halfway into the year, and you're not quite sure. You know, it does pull over year to year like this, all right? But, you know, I think if I was coming as a new payroll person or coming across into it, I'd probably give it a good look, you know. Another way you can look at it is if you go into reports and payroll category setup, and then from here you check this box here, form assignments, and that'll show you all the mapping for all the pay codes. So I'll just go preview, and then here's our pay codes, and then what box do they map to? Okay, box 22 or 14. This is 14 with A, that kind of stuff. All right. Okay. So yeah, verify all your mapping looks cool. Yeah, it's nothing like looking at the T4s and wondering why it's out by thousands of dollars. Probably because the good chance of it is the mapping is not quite correct. Create the T4. Okay, let's try this. So at the top, let's go to Forms. Okay. And T4. Then go Create. All right. So here I could choose from multiple EI groups here. So yeah, you'll have to run one for the one and then run the reduced one thereafter, okay, if you have two. Default submission number always starts with 1, okay. I could pick and choose particular employees if I wanted to do T4s on, but not typically, very rarely, okay. Unless I have to do maybe an amendment on the next run or something, all right. I can also do it by status. But like I said, probably 9 times out of 10, you're probably going all employees. At the bottom here, it's kind of like a wizard, so hit next. Here you can kind of see some of the mapping happening here with the pay codes again, what boxes they're going to hit, and if any sub boxes, and if there's any text written in there. All right. Keep going along the bottom and hit next. Kind of a summary screen here of what we're going to run for, and then you would hit finish. And then that would start running the T4s. All right, just to save time, I've already done it. But what it'll do is it'll go through everybody. It may take, if you got a large company, it may take, you know, it may take a couple minutes. All right, depending how fast your PC is and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. I'm going to go straight. So I'm going to say I've done that already. The next step, well, let's follow my fancy PowerPoint. Edit the T4s. Okay. So this is where we can go make changes if we wanted to. So if I hit Control, let's see.
It'll be done soon.
And if we go into Forms and T4 and edit supplementaries, this is where I can make my changes. So here's all my employees that I've made the T4s for. I can hit them this way, or I can use the little arrows. Okay. I can look this over if I wanted to, make changes if I need be. Okay. Many of you might not even go into here. You might just kind of go in here and take a quick look. But there is, you know, if you might need to do a pension adjustment, you might do it in here. All right. Registration number. Well, if you have this put into under the configuration, under the company, and under the company edit, that's where it would actually pull from here, this pension number, if you assign the pension to the employees. So then you wouldn't have to worry about putting in the pension number right here all the time. Okay. So it could actually have it plugged in automatically. But the pension adjustment, yeah, that's where you can do it if you need be. All right. If you need to amend a T4, make sure it's in this one, slip part 2, this line right here, report type, changes O to an A for amended. Okay, and that way it knows that this is now an amended T4. So that's what this report type stuff is here to watch out for. I'm just going to keep it at O for original. And then, of course, we have the select business number thing again, if he was on a different business number. All right. Okay, so we can make changes there if we need to be. So I would go through them. Of course, there's reports yet coming up that we could also look at them. All right. Okay, so let's continue on. T4, edit summary. This is the summary page. You can make some changes here. Okay, these come in from the calculations from the supplementary page. So you got tax information 1, part 2. Give it a look over. Okay. Okay, so we went and looked at that edit supplementaries. Oh, yeah, one thing I forgot to talk about. I should always follow my... What happens if we have to do history adjustments in history? So if I find something and I go, oh, I need to make some changes. Okay, you could just change it on the T4 and the edit supplementaries, all right, and make your changes and be done with it. Or another way I would go about it, of course, is to do it right in history. So if you go into pay card history and go into that employee, and you could add a pay card, okay, zero it out, and then just adjust the one pay code that you need to adjust, all right? But the one thing about doing it this way in the pay card history screen is you'll have to in order for it to pull onto the T4, you have to run the T4s again. And when you run the T4s again, it says, do you want to overwrite the file? And that means you would overwrite all your changes, all right, if you made any. So one thing to be aware of, when do you want to do, how do you want to do any kind of adjustments? Do you want to do them on the T4? And maybe go back into pay card history and add it later for some, in case you had to go back and wonder why you did what you did? Or do you go back into pay card history and rerun the T4s again and pull it from the history and be done with it that way? So we got a couple of options there. I think if I was in the middle and I did a lot of adjustments, and then I noticed something, I'd probably just adjust it on here, and then maybe I would go back into history and make the adjustment in there so things would kind of match up. If I were to look, back 3 or 4 years and wonder what I did, and at least if you go back into the history and you put it in, at least you can know what you did. I like to, whenever I make adjustments in history, what I like to do is go into this memo to employee and maybe put in a note here, adjusted CPP, or whatever I did. Okay. So then that way, if I came back in history, I'll know, oh, okay, that's why I made this pay card for that. Okay. So a couple of ways to go about of manipulating history there. Like I said, yeah, if you did a lot of things already on the T4s and you're heavy into it already, I would probably keep the file and just make the adjustments and then go to history later and adjust it in there. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Summary page. Talked about that a little bit already. Printing of the T4s. The fun part, right? T4, print. Okay. In here, there's a few things you can do. Not only about, printing the T4s themselves, but there's audit reporting in here, way onto this side here. So you have, if you want to look at employees rather than printing off the T4s, and maybe you want to look at the totals first on the employee CPP contributions, okay, employers EI premiums, that kind of stuff, all right. The employer CPP contributions, those are both there on both sides of it, all right. So it's all there. So this was a report I always used to look at. Auditing of the employees. So if I wanted to look at each employee and all their box setups, I could do it before even printing off the T4s and look at each one. So here's our boxes and your amounts. EI premium discrepancies. Hopefully I don't have many of that. What some people will do, like halfway through the year, they'll run the T4s just so they can look at these reports. So they'll run like mid-year and go, okay, I wonder how this thing is looking. I don't want any surprises when it comes to, February or January when I'm running these things. So you can run T4s any time of the year. You can run T4s every day of the week if you wanted to. It's just a report. It's not dependent on, you have to be at the year end or you have to run a year end or anything like that. So yeah, you can run the T4s and then at least come into here, go straight to print and maybe look at these reports and see if there's any discrepancies like EI, pensionable, CPP, that kind of stuff. See if there's anything that's, out at all. All right. So between bucks 60 and 26, I'm out 14 bucks here. Why? So that kind of stuff you might want to look at. Bad social insurance numbers. Typically, that's going to be. Typically, that's going to be, empty. I think for the most part, not many people have bad social insurance numbers, but not a bad one to look at. Okay. The summary report here. This is actually just printing or viewing the summary report. So there you go. Just put blank piece of paper in the printer and away you go. And away it comes out. Got a couple options here. Usually they're checked though. Supplementary itself, the T4s. All right. So some options here. Do you want the CCRA's copy? Do you want the recipient's copy? That kind of stuff. So you can go preview here and you can take a look at them before printing them, right? Another thing I used to do was I would hit print and then I used to archive them as well. So I'd go print the file and I'd, archive them as PDFs. So that way, I think the previous payroll person before me used to put them in a big, huge binder and that kind of thing. Whereas, I like to have things right at my fingertips. So that's another option there. You can print it straight to PDF and you have it. Okay. So CCRA copy, recipient's copy, employer's copy. Okay, here's the instructions, that kind of thing. All right. Typical stuff. Yep. I could pick and choose who I want to print T4s, but again, typically you're probably going to do them all. All right. Okay. There is another option at the top here, but that mostly comes, I think, with laser printing, you know, the form, putting a form in the printer. I think those days are come and gone, to tell you the truth. So it's just a matter of putting that blank piece of paper in the printer and have it print out. Really, I don't think any adjustments are necessary at all. Okay, so that's pretty much printing there. All right, so yeah, employee copies are printed there. Audit reporting is also done. Okay. Emailing of T4s. Okay, so this is what we'll do. So let's go to T4, and this time we'll choose email. Pretty much the same idea as printing, isn't it? Pretty much identical. So here you would do this. You would go straight to email recipients with instructions, okay? But, you know, you're wondering, well, what? Are just two? What? So maybe go into employees and take a boo at what your setups were. Now, this is another one that you're going to want to do prior to printing the T4s or creating the T4s, sorry I say. So prior to even going to here, come into here. If you think you're going to email them, make sure you got all their email addresses in place. Okay. So under the employee general information and organization, so make sure that the email is in place. And then under payroll, that you got your box, the appropriate boxes checked here. And this one would be the received tax slips by email. Okay. Now, if this was kind of an afterthought, and you go, oh, I forgot to look at that, and you made all these changes to the T4s, you're kind of in a spot now, okay? Because the only way to pull it across now is you got to run those T4s. So again, and if you run them again, it's going to ask you to overwrite the file, which would kill any and all adjustments that you made. So it's hugely important that you do these email checks first before you run the T4s. All right. Okay. So yeah, you want to have an email recipient copy with instructions. And then what you do is you hit create, and what that does, it creates just a zip file, much like the pay stubs. Okay. So it's creating these zip files here. Okay. By the way, if you're wondering where that went, just on the second page here in paper, the file name is where you can change it to go where this zip file goes so we can actually find it later, right? So make sure that you are aware of that. If you're wondering what the heck, where did it go? It went here on this path, and you can change it, of course. All right. So yeah, what it'll do is it'll make a zip file with the T4s and instructions. So let's go take a look at that zip file and see what it looks like. So I have it. And so this is what it would kind of look like. There's a zip file I created here. And the T4s look like so. But guess what? It's passworded, so I'm going to put a password in here. Yeah, same thing, right? So there's the T4. What about the instructions? Well, it'll also send a separate one for the instructions. That's that I that's in the file there. So these two will go to the same person. Yeah, it passwords the instructions too. Sorry, folks. Okay. All right. Okay, so you got your zip file. Very, very much the same as running the pay stubs. Okay, at this point. So what you'll do is you go to Utilities. All right, and e-delivery. Choose your method here, and probably typically you use one or the other. Hit Next. Put in, hey, this is the T4s for 2018. Maybe you got something you want to put in the outgoing on in the body of it. It's up to you. And then it's just a matter of choosing where that file is. Okay. Hitting Next. There's all my recipients. And the last function would be actually to send it. Okay. And then away it goes. And that's emailing the T4s. Okay, big sigh of relief. That part's done, right? So, yeah, it's the Super Bowl for payroll. Almost done. The game's almost over. So, magnetic media filing. This is the part where we create the file, the XML file for the CRA. All right. So you pick your group. You could have two, or you could have a reduced one and a standard one. So beware that. Transmitter number, you can leave that the way it is, and then as zeros. And then file paths. Where's this XML file going to go on your hard drive? So that's what that's asking. Okay. So maybe I might want to put it somewhere where I can find it. Okay. And optional file naming prefix, that's just the name over here. Okay. So I could call it anything I want, and it'll change it down here. Okay. Same with the submission number. If I change that to 2 and I just click down here, you'll notice it says 2 down here now. But it should be 1. Just click back up here and it'll change back. All right. So hit Next. At the top here, it says, okay, report type code. Is this is this the original one or is this the amended? No, we're doing original here. Okay. And I'm submitting returns on behalf of others. Okay. Language of communication indicator, that kind of stuff. Hit Next. Make sure this information is correct. Hit Next. Contact name, which would be you. All right. Email address. Next. And then create the submission file. Okay, your file has been created, validated, and saved to that path. You can now upload the file to the CRA website. Okay, so it's created a file. Let's take a look at that thing. So it's an XML file here. There's the Super Bowl one we just created. So I'm going to click on it. What does that look like? Ew, it's really gory and ugly to look at. That's just the way XML files are. Okay, so that's what they expect. It's normal stuff here. Looks like crazy code, doesn't it? Really gory to look at. But anyway, you can kind of see, who's who, what employees, that kind of stuff. You can see the numbers. Gives you kind of a rough idea. You can kind of flip through it. But anyway, the next step, of course, is go to the CRA's website and pull it in. So let's see if I can find this thing here. I think I'm going to cheat. So it'll be something like this place here, Internet File Transfer. It's on the CRA website. I agree. Oh, That's funny, they expire a page like that. Maybe I can just do this the long way. I'll just kind of flip through it. And maybe something like in here, right? T4 payroll. And they give you kind of some directions here. How to file it, XML. But, you know, there's not a lot. So all you need to do is just go to Start Internet and File Transfer XML here. Read their stuff. I agree. And then put in your account number, web access code that you probably got in the mail already. Okay. And then at that point, you'll have a import feature there to import that XML file. All right. I probably took you a little farther than I had to, but yeah. Okay. So let's see where we are. We'll just kind of do a little rehash here. So yeah, we created the T4. We did checked out our mapping. Okay. You know, if we had to edit it, we could do that right in the supplementary screen. You know, if we do have to make a history adjustment, just the only thing is it makes you you'll have to rerun and create the T4s again. Edit the summary page if you need be, or just kind of look it over. Print. Look at some audit reporting if need be. I think I probably would. Email the T4s if you do that kind of thing. And send the T4 to the CRA. So to send the T4 file to the CRA, okay, with that magnetic media filing. Okay, so we've done all the things. Maybe we got stuck on something. All right, the online knowledge base under help, I'm going to show you where that is in case you did get stuck. So right at the top here, if you go into help and you go into online knowledge base, this has like a ton of info in here. Okay, so if I go in Clarity, T4, okay, all kinds of info in here. So things like, oh, hey, I'm missing data. You know, you might run into some things here. How to cancel T4 in Clarity, or how to create in Clarity. How to create these T4s. Remember that guy that seminar? How to, you know. So here we got some screenshots. How to do it. If you're doing some Quebec stuff here with the RL1. Okay, that's what the RL1 is. Quebec for all our Westerners that don't know what that is. How to email them. Everything's in here. On the left-hand side, there is all kinds of stuff, not only for T4s, but anything related to Clarity and, you know, the kind of questions that we get, we kind of try to pound them in here. Okay, so when you guys try to get me stuck, this is where I try to find that answer. All right, busted. Okay, there you go. There's all the answers right here. Okay. Yeah, it is kind of busy at this point of the year, as you might think. It is as busy as you think. Yeah, right now it is January 29th, and our friends in the USA are actually doing W-2s, which are due in a couple days. So they're in their crunch right at this point. So we're getting lots of those types of calls. And thereafter, it'll get more T4 into February, of course. So yeah, it's a busy time here at Paymate. We're still doing updates to people's systems, believe it or not. Those kind of things. We also have the phone line, 1-905-771-1155. If you got stuck and you need to talk to somebody, okay, give me a shout. Or we also got support at paymatesoftware.com. Please don't get frustrated. It might be an hour or two. It is, like, again, our busy season, and we'll try to get to you the best we can. Okay, so right now I will take some questions if anybody has in the chat. We'll roll it up and take a look-see and see what I got. When I try to create the T4, it comes up with an error message, T4 not available for taxation in year 2018. You're probably not missing a step, but one thing I would probably be looking at is the version of Clarity you are using. Make sure you are on the at least 5.8 and up. If you are using anything below 5.8, chances are, and I'm talking down here, okay, look, follow the cursor down here to the bottom left. It says 5.83. That's where we are right now. 5.80 has at least all the T4s in there, all the forms, everything, okay? If you do not have the T4s, or it's giving you that kind of message, chances are you might be in an older version, and you should be in 5.8 at this point in 2019. So if that warning still comes up, you better give us a call and support. We'll try to help you out with it. All right. Okay. Is there a report that we could pull that will tell us who has the email tax slips turned on? I don't think so. If anywhere, it's going to be in one of these reports up here in the employee lists, maybe. Okay. I don't recall seeing that sort of information. I don't think so. Unfortunately, but that would be a cool report to have. If you want a request for change, just send us an email and we'll put that, and we'll see if we can make a change to that in the future. I need to adjust an employee CPP and CPP to CPP exempt. How can I deduct the year-to-date CPP and add it to all the employee taxes via the pay card history? So pretty much, you're going to have to go into the pay card history, go under the employee or employees one at a time, and add a pay card and adjust CPP if you need to make an adjustment. So clear this other stuff out, all right? You don't want that doing anything to your numbers. So make sure everything is zero first, your net pay and everything. And then if you have to adjust something on CPP or EI, you can do it up or down, okay? Put a minus sign in front or whatever, all right? And then, of course, save it. It'll ask you what date you want to put it in. I guess as long as you put it in 2018, you'll be fine, all right? But try to do this prior to running the T4s. Other than that, if you notice that when you've already done the T4s, or you've gotten so deep into it that you've got so many adjustments, you're going to have to just do it on the T4 itself, make the adjustment on there, and then come back later and change it in history, so your history rhymes with your T4s. All right. Why does the T4 summary adjustment state to only use this function if converted to clarity this year. Why not use this every year to adjust the small CPP-EI amount to tax? Yeah, that's a good question. I have never actually played with that little one, but I think maybe it might be with converted data in particular, and maybe rounding. I'm not sure. That's something I would have to look into. I see, yeah, make sure that another question is that I'm on version 5.65. You need to get right after this session, go straight to paymatesoftware.com and get that system upgraded to 5.83. 5.65 is a year ago, and that is 2018 taxes. You will not be able to run 2019 pays in 5.65. And if you have, your taxes are going to be out. All right. So, yeah, right after this little session, which will end really shortly, get yourself to paymatesoftware.com and get that updated as soon as possible. Any other questions? Let's see. We entered the severance amounts into box 14 and now see them in box 67. Can that be adjusted in the edit summary? I might be able to. Let's take a look. You can definitely adjust 14. Ooh, maybe not. Maybe 67 is a calculated type one. You might have to do it at the, you might have to do it at the supplemental stage. That's a good question. I may have to answer that later with you. If you want to send us an email, support@paymatesoftware.com, I can look into that one for you. But my guess is that you may have to do that in the T4 summaries or supplementaries. And you can make some adjustments here. Okay. Anybody else got any questions? Just feel free to put it in the chat. If you do have questions later, shoot us at support@paymatesoftware.com or give us a call at 1-905-771-1155. And we will help you. Or, of course, there's the online knowledge base that I mentioned, and you'd be surprised. There might be some answers there for you too. All right, so I'm not seeing any further questions here. I think we're going to call it a day. And you guys have yourself a great day. Have fun running your T4s. I know it's tough. It could be easy and it could be tough. I've been there myself. So, okay, so have a good year. We'll be talking to you. Take care.